types of magma, basaltic and granitic, and what determines what the type of magma is. We've also looked at the different ways volcanoes can erupt, whether they erupt explosively or quietly, and how the different types of magma determine what kind of eruption a volcano has. And now we'll look at the different types of volcanoes that can form from these different types of eruptions. So first, let's quickly just talk about the stages of a volcano's life. Volcanoes we tend to classify as one of three different stages. A volcano can either be active, meaning that it's currently erupting, or has erupted very, very recently, and shows signs of erupting in the near future. So Mount St. Helens is considered an active volcano. It's last erupted about 6 years ago. It definitely shows signs of erupting again. So Mount St. Helens we consider an active volcano. Dormant is when a volcano is sleeping, if you will. It will likely erupt within the next 200 or so years and become active. So Mount Rainier in Washington is considered a dormant volcano. It definitely will erupt again. We're not sure exactly when. We can monitor it to make sure that we would have an understanding of how and when it would erupt. But that's considered to be a dormant volcano. And then lastly, an extinct volcano. This is a dead volcano that is unlikely to ever erupt again, right? The magma chamber is cut off or cooled up entirely. This volcano is done. Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa is an extinct volcano. It last erupted about 800,000 years ago, and as best we can tell, there's no active magma chamber underneath. Everything is cooled, everything is done. That volcano is not erupting again. So from these volcanic eruptions, we can get different kinds of landforms that are made of ash from eruptions, lava, and other materials. We've got a couple different landforms that can form, and we're going to talk about each one in order. So our first type of volcano that we could get is called a shield volcano, right? And it's named because it looks like an old-fashioned shield. If you've ever can picture like movies with like old, Roman soldiers or something like that. They've got those big round shields. So that's why it's called a shield volcano. It's a wide, gently sloping volcano that's made of layers of lava that have hardened. So you've got the magma chamber, the pipe, the vent at the top, and you just have quiet eruptions that form layers of lava over time. These layers build, and the volcano gets taller. So the Hawaiian Islands are all shield volcanoes. They're not very steep. They're a big, broad, gentle slope, and they're just made from cooled lava. Next up, on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have what are called cinder cone volcanoes. Sorry about that. We have cinder cone volcanoes, which are steep, cone-shaped volcanoes made of layers of ash, cinders, and what we call lava bombs. So if like a little packet of lava were to be launched into the air and cooled, right, and then when it comes to the ground, it's going to burst outwards. We call that a lava bomb. So cinder cones, these are very loosely packed, and they have explosive eruptions. These are definitely going to be granitic magma, right? Very, very stiff magma. It's not going to flow out easily, so it's just going to sputter when it erupts and just blast lots of ash into the air. And then our last type is called a composite volcano, right? The word composite means mixture. So a composite volcano is going to be made up of kind of a combination of the other two. So a composite volcano are tall and cone-shaped again, but they have alternating layers of lava and cinders or ash. So their magma kind of changes over time as different rocks underneath melt and contribute different minerals to the magma source. Sometimes there'll be more silica, sometimes there'll be less, which means sometimes you're going to get quiet eruptions and lava flows. Sometimes you'll get big explosive eruptions and lots of ash and cinders going everywhere. So Mount Fuji in Japan, Mount St. Helens in the United States are both going to be composite volcanoes, right? And alternating layers of lava and ash. And our last type is a lava plateau. From geography, you know that a plateau is a large flat area. And so basically a lava plateau, picture instead of a volcano having a single vent, right, like a little pipe where the lava comes out, if it came out along a large crack. So if this lava, instead of coming out at a single point, came out along a several miles long crack, you would get a big, wide area where lava would flow, and you'd form a big, flat plateau area. And so The Columbia Plateau in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho is a large flat area. It's all basaltic rock, and it formed when, instead of a volcano erupting at a single point, lava basically flowed out of this tens of miles long crack and just flowed out to either side and built up this big flat area. So those are all of our volcanic landforms. 3 questions at the bottom, and I will see you guys on Monday. We'll finish up going over the types of volcanoes, and we'll start in on our volcanoes